So, you want to get rich and successful, work for yourself, and live the lifestyle you've always dreamed of. Yeah, that would be nice. But it hasn't worked out yet, has it? Maybe you have to try harder then. Work smarter, be more effective, and so on. Or maybe, just maybe, there's a different reason why things aren't working the way you want. As someone who has been deeply entrenched in the self-improvement and business bubble, I really wanted to talk about this topic. This is basically the video I wish I had seen 5 years ago, back when I was still dead set on starting a business and getting rich. What I'm about to say might sound unsexy, and you might not like hearing it, but it could save you a lot of time and frustration. So sit back for a moment and let's take a closer look at the mistakes I made and what I learned from them. Part 1. My experience. I want to offer a bit of a different perspective for all you hustlers out there in pursuit of success, whatever that means to you. For me, success meant becoming a rich entrepreneur and traveling around as a digital nomad, being completely independent, not having to check with my boss if I want to take time off, and being able to live wherever I want. As you might guess, I was heavily inspired by the 4-hour work week. And I tried it. I tried to do something entrepreneurial while living abroad and quickly discovered that there were a lot of things the book and all those business and lifestyle YouTubers I was following forgot to mention. To be fair, sometimes they did mention it, but I chose not to believe it. After all, everything would be different for me, so I thought. So what did I discover? Let's take a look at the digital nomad lifestyle first. For me, there were 2 problems. Number 1, it's not so easy to socially integrate when you don't speak the local language. Shocking, I know. But who cares about the locals when you've got fellow expats and nomads around to connect with, right? That's what I thought. And true, you can socialize with fellow travelers. That's where problem number 2 comes in though. Because like you, those other travelers are often following their own individual path. Relationships usually boil down to brief segments of shared activities before people go their own way again, making those connections often pretty superficial and repetitive when you exchange the same information over and over again. Like, where are you from? Oh, I'm from the UK. And where are you from? Ah, very interesting. I'm from Germany. Ah, splendid. And what do you do? I'm trying to start a business. And you? Oh, that sounds exciting. I'm a software programmer. Imagine that every time you meet new people, which is practically all the time. It's rare that you find someone with whom you can travel for longer stretches. As a digital nomad, you're bound to spend a lot of time alone in front of your laptop. Just be prepared for that. Next, what was wrong with the entrepreneurial endeavor? As every one of you is hopefully aware, doing anything entrepreneurial is hard. Really hard. So hard, in fact, that around 90% of startups fail, according to Forbes. Probably more. To start a business, you first must believe that you will be in the top 10%, even though the odds are heavily stacked against you. But that's part of the fun, isn't it? Succeeding against all odds, that's badass. And a lot of those business influencers make it sound so easy. Follow my course, read my book, and of course put in the work, and you will succeed. If you don't, well, you just didn't try hard enough. Sorry. No, that's the part I find very troubling. I feel a bit stupid now recounting my approach to entrepreneurship. I didn't have a good idea of what to do business-wise. I knew I wanted to do something on my own, offer something of value, solve a problem, get rich, and so on. But what exactly wasn't clear to me. I wanted to force success to happen. I wanted it now. Just try hard and it will work. Anything better than working 9 to 5, I was thinking. Well, my business endeavor didn't really go anywhere. Could I have tried harder? Probably. Would it have made a difference? I don't think so. And here's why. Part 2. Risks and consequences. Assume you want to start something on your own, like I did. You're still young, ambitious, and impatient. You don't have many contacts or much knowledge, no concrete idea or experience of how you want to achieve success. You just know you want it ASAP. What will happen? So, first of all, you will most likely experience overwhelm and anxiety because you have to make a lot of decisions about things you don't know anything about. After all, you are in control of everything. You also have to do everything. There are thousands of possibilities for what to do first. There's no clear guidance unless you've purchased a killer business course that will have you make $20 million in 1 hour or something that surely works and is definitely not a scam. There's no structure at all and a lot of ambiguity about whether what you are doing is even working. Those conditions are not exactly conducive to success. So, what happens if you don't make it? That's when you learn the real meaning of risk. Well, I learned it. Taking risks sounds cool and badass until you draw the short end of the stick. I know, when you listen to those business influencers on YouTube, it often sounds like you're not even allowed to think about the possibility of failure. It's all about the mindset, man. You have to believe 100% and only then you will be successful. The point is, when you start on a weak base, the already low probability of success gets even worse. I'm not saying it can't work, just that ignoring reality will come back to bite you. Recovering from a failed business endeavor can be difficult, depending on how risky you are feeling. Did you just waste time? Did you quit university for the stream of entrepreneurship? Did you even take out loans? I hope not. Dreaming big is great. It's just that overconfidence can lead to poor decisions, which might haunt you for a long time. Part 3. The business lifestyle. Alright, now what about success? Achieving the dream of independence and wealth, solving people's problems, and getting the paper in return. I think it's important to get clear on what that dream of working for yourself actually entails for most people who choose that path. First, the entrepreneurial journey is quite lonely too. As I mentioned before, there are 1,000 things you have to do, and you are the one in charge, the one who has the ultimate responsibility for generating income and keeping everything running. You can't just go on holiday or take sick leave. Hobbies will have to sit on the back seat for a while. Everything is resting on your shoulders. It can even become all-consuming. Just to give you a glimpse into how some entrepreneurs live, I included quotes from a study on entrepreneurial loneliness here. Now quoting. The entrepreneurial journey is lonesome. It also takes a massive toll on personal relationships. It is great to have peers, but in the end, plan on taking this trip alone. I just noticed that I don't care anymore about people. I just view them as a waste of time. For example, if I talk to my friend, that's time I could have spent working. Haven't had a meaningful long-term relationship for over 6 years, mainly due to working on my business and thinking of it as a distraction. And that's the point. Even if you make it, the demands on your time and energy won't reduce. There won't be a point where you're just done and able to collect your monthly check. I guess what I'm trying to say is be clear on your priorities in life. Do you want to be a workaholic who thinks of friends as a distraction, who just hinder his pursuit of money, independence, and ultimate success? The digital nomad is the same in a way, prioritizing independence over close contact with family and friends. That is not meant as a judgment. If people are happy this way, that's great. It just won't work for everybody. Just be careful before you go all in. especially when you have no prior experience in what you're setting out to do. Maybe try to test the waters first, start with an experiment that's not that risky and helps you to figure out whether you want to pursue that path further. Part 4. Playing the long game. I make the entrepreneurial lifestyle sound pretty bad here. Of course, it doesn't have to be. Let's take Steve Jobs as an example, one of the most famous entrepreneurs in the world. Founding Apple must have come with huge stress and pressure, but it was likely the most meaningful and fulfilling achievement of Steve Jobs' life. But to be fair, Steve Jobs began his entrepreneurial journey pretty early. He successfully started selling self-made electronic products with a friend when he was around 17 years old. That's 5 years before he went on to found Apple. He was into electronics from an early age and also business-minded. Starting Apple was, in a way, the natural progression of his interests and character. It was also the ideal time and place to start for him, partnering with a skilled and like-minded friend, with the growing demand for personal computers, tying in perfectly with Jobs' interests. But not everybody is so quick to start a successful business. Henry Ford, for example. He established the Ford Motor Company with a few associates when he was around 40 years old, after his first company ended in bankruptcy. His interest in engineering started way earlier though. At 15 years old, he built his first steam engine and he continued building motors and experimental cars in his garage. So despite his talents and interests, it took him a while to get a successful company rolling. No pun intended. Different industry, but another great example of a late bloomer is Samuel Jackson. He had his first breakthrough success as a recognized movie actor in Pulp Fiction when he was, get this, 46 years old. I couldn't believe this. This was in no small part aided by his prior connection to the director Quentin Tarantino. Until that point, he was getting by taking on small movie roles, performing in theater plays, or even working as a security guard. Can you imagine Samuel Jackson as a security guard? I can. There are some common threads here. Those people I mentioned had an interest, which they never stopped pursuing. And at some point, they had their breakthrough. Some earlier, some later. Coming back to entrepreneurship. There are a million ways of earning money in our digital day and age. None of them are easy though. They all require a lot of time and energy. And yes, I know, there might be people telling you how to get rich quick with this super cool, new and simple method of dropshipping, coaching, programming, copywriting, online marketing, and so on. But even those simple and quick methods require a surprising amount of work to get off the ground. Who could have known? It's just the fact that you need a lot of dedication and persistence to get so good at what you do so that you can actually offer something of value to others and not just bullshit your way around. So if you really want to live the life, the dream of working for yourself and on your own projects, the smart approach would probably be to think long term. You have to stay at it even if you don't see any rewards for a long time. The best way to do that is to find something that doesn't require much external reward to keep you going. Ideally something you cannot not do, something you think about in the shower, something you would never give up. If you start dropshipping just because you heard it's a quick and easy way to get rich, but you've never had any interest in it before, how likely is it that you will invest months or even years contacting manufacturers, setting up shipping, building websites and all that crap? Okay, but how do I find that thing I'm interested in? Some people are lucky enough to have an innate interest and passion since they were young, like Henry Ford. Others have to search and develop that passion over time, like Samuel Jackson, who made his first contact with acting when he was attending college. I guess it's most important to focus on some kind of passion, building up your expertise and your network in that area of interest, all the while looking for good opportunities that come your way which you can capitalize on. Like I said, there are many opportunities nowadays to provide value to people with anything you're interested in. If you want to commercialize your hobby, that is. Part 5. Plus sum games. There's another attribute those successful guys have in common. They all had mentors, friends, or associates who greatly contributed to their success in some way or another. I feel like the importance of people is often overlooked in the business community that focuses on grinding as much as possible. And I get it. If you're young with big aspirations of entrepreneurship and wealth, you're often out of the norm. I experienced this too. People around you tend not to share your worldview. It can often feel like you against the world. But you're just going to focus on yourself and get to work, no matter if others think your efforts are futile. Get rich or die trying, right? We saw this in the quotes I mentioned earlier. People often isolate themselves from others to avoid being held back from achieving their vision. You're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with, aren't you? Well, ignoring social context when wanting to start a business is probably one of the worst things you can do. It will sabotage your emotional well-being and, most importantly, your success. Oh no! It's pretty basic advice to prioritize social connections, but I feel like people don't fully get how essential they are to any endeavor you decide to pursue. Let me explain. In our modern day and age, we often try to be super independent and self-determined, making all kinds of choices that reduce the amount of time we spend with other people. Living alone, for example. Pre-industrialization, only about 5% of households in the UK were single-person households, on average. Today, it goes up to 60% in some European and American cities. We also work remotely much more often, especially since COVID. Socializing during free time has also decreased for many. We watch Netflix by ourselves, go to the gym by ourselves, eat dinner by ourselves, and so on. But we are still social animals, in need of human connection. Our brains haven't changed much since the tribal days of our species' history. Our ancestors were often traveling around as, get this, actual physical nomads in tight social groups, surviving through cooperation, spending a large amount of time in a shared social setting. We need social connections like we need sleep or physical exercise. Without it, our mental health goes downhill. You might be thinking now, oh well, I should deprioritize my dream and socialize more just because it's supposed to make me feel better? Well, yes, but also no. There's another important reason why investing in your social connections is essential, especially if you want to achieve anything meaningful. I'm going on a tangent here, but our need for social connection basically comes from one principle. A plus-sum game is much better than a zero-sum game. This principle is based on game theory. Everyone loves game theory. Anyway, what do I mean by plus-sum game and zero-sum game? Well, zero-sum games are pretty much the norm in nature. Let's use an example. Say we are back in the hunter-gatherer time of our history. I'm out in the woods, hunting for prehistoric deer. You are too. Now, we see one delicious-looking deer standing around. If I manage to kill and eat it first, I win. I've secured vital resources for my survival. You lose. You get nothing. Actually, even less than nothing, because you also wasted a lot of energy trying to get the deer before me. So, plus for me, minus for you. Zero sum. Winner takes it all. Now, if you were to steal my hard-earned meat, that would be a big minus for me and a big plus for you. Again, zero sum. Zero sum games are often accompanied by those lovely emotions like hatred or anger. They prepare us for win-lose situations where a lot could be on the line. Here is where plus-sum games come in. I'm simplifying, but over our evolutionary history, individuals who were cooperative had a much better chance of survival than those who relied only on themselves. If I killed the deer, for example, I'd have much more meat on my hand than I could ever eat before it spoils. If you were starving, I could decide to give you some of my meat because I'm feeling nice today. For you, that meat would have a life-saving value. For me, it's just excess. I couldn't eat anyway. I lose nothing or very little, and you gain a lot. Net positive equals plus some game. Now, when the tables are turned and I'm starving and you've just killed a deer, I'd profit immensely from your reciprocation. Another plus. If we keep this up, sharing food depending on who has hunting success, we effectively reduce our risk of starvation. And if we add even more people to our little group, maybe we can upgrade to bigger game, like a mammoth. Killing a mammoth would yield far more meat per hunter than everyone hunting solo. Another plus some game. Except for the mammoth. Now that we are a group, we are also better at protecting our hunting grounds. If another group wants to steal our game, we can defend ourselves. Alone, we might have to surrender. Together, we stand a chance. That's called war. That's why we get the uncomfortable feeling of loneliness in the first place. Just like a cat can't help but chase after small moving objects in a very cute fashion, we can't help but crave social contact. Everyone needs a different amount of it, but we all need it in some form. There's a reason why exile and solitary confinement have been and still are some of the worst punishments. Over time, the principle of plus-sum games enabled more complex, cooperative efforts, eventually leading to the advanced societies we live in today. Our society heavily operates on the plus-sum logic. People specialize in different things. We rely on a massive network of individuals with various skills and knowledge. I don't know how my laptop or my phone works. And I don't need to know, because others do. I benefit from their skills, and they benefit from my monetary appreciation. Now, in today's world, social connections aren't necessary for basic survival anymore. You won't starve and die just because you're lonely. But I'd argue that they are still as important as they were in the hunter-gatherer age. In a society built on cooperation, it pays to be social. No matter what you want to achieve, knowing people who are more skilled, knowledgeable, or connected than you, who can offer guidance or share responsibility, can be a tremendous help. You never know what opportunities may come from those relationships, or what doors might be opened. The lone wolf approach has rarely worked out for anybody. To increase your chances of achieving something meaningful, you need helpful people around. Also, life just throws curveballs. Having someone who can offer physical or emotional support in tough times is extremely valuable. The principle from the past still holds today. The more interconnected you are, the deeper your relationships are, the better your chances of actually achieving what you want in life. Be it getting rich, traveling, or killing a mammoth. And just to clarify, relationships aren't just about transaction of favors. Ideally, we care about the people around us even if things aren't going well. But the balance of give and take in a relationship is still important. So being yourself someone that people can rely on, who's helpful, takes time for friends, and is generally a worthwhile person to be around, helps to build a strong social network. And of course, not all relationships are created equal. Toxic people can have the opposite effect, dragging you down and making it even harder to navigate life. Get missed with that shit. Part 8, in a nutshell. So, to end the video, I just want to say, try patience once in a while. As we say in Germany, there's never been a master who just dropped from the heavens. Time is working for you. Step by step, you will become more knowledgeable, connected, and confident in what you do. You don't have to crowbar your way into a lifestyle you've had no contact with before. Think for yourself, trust your gut, focus on the stuff that inspires you, and beware of people telling you to go for extremes. Remember, only a sift yields an absolutes. And absolutely don't forget about your greatest and most favorite resource, human resources. No, but seriously, as a last point, try to honor your relationships, Family and friends are priceless, in my opinion. We are all in the same boat, trying to figure this life out. Let's do it together.